Hello everyone and welcome back. In this lecture we look at built-in list methods. Let's start by creating a list and save it in a variable called x. Let's say it has the elements 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So if we call our object x, we get a list containing the elements 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. To see the list of available methods on our list object, we can simply say x dot and then hit tab on your keyboard and you'll see a list of available methods. We'll look at each of this method one by one. Let's start by looking at the first method, append. So append will append. This method will append an object to your list. So the element will be added at the end. Let's say we want to append 8 to our list. So we can simply say x dot append, that's the method, and then we pass our element 8 and run it. Now if we call our list x, we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. And let's append another element, x dot append. You can say, let's say item. Now if we call our object x, we see that item is appended to our list. We can also save another list in a variable, let's say xx, and let's set that to be equal to 4, 5 and 6. We can also append this list containing these elements 4, 5, 6 to our list x by simply saying x dot append, and then we can pass this xx object. And now if we call x, we see that this list containing the elements 4, 5 and 6 is appended to our list x. So that's the append method. It appends an object to our list. Next, let's look at the extend method. Extend. This extend method appends the contents of some sequence. Okay, it's very similar to the append method, but this extend method, it appends the contents of some given sequence. Let's look at an example. Let's try to append. Let's create another list to make it easier. So I'll create another list and then save it in a variable called y. Let's say y has the elements 1, 2 and 3. So earlier we saw that we can use the append method and then add whatever we want to add. Let's say 4. And now if we call y, we get 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's append a list containing the elements 5, 6 and 7. So in this case, this will be added as one element. This will be appended at the end as one element. That's the append method. We just saw that. So if we call y, we get, you see here, 5, 6, 7. The list containing 5, 6, 7 is added as one element. Now let's use the extend method. So extend, and then let's add 8, 9 and 10. So unlike the append method, this extend method will append these elements individually. So the content of this list will be appended individually. So let me run it and show you. So if I call y now, you see here we get 8, 9, and 10. So 3 elements are added. So the contents of each element here in my list is added individually. So all the sequence elements in our list are added one by one. So that's the extend method. Let's look at another example. Y dot extend. Let's say we want to extend 7, a list containing 7, 3, 5, and 2. So if we call y, we'll see that those individual elements in my list are added one by one. So that's the difference between append and extend. Next, let's look at the count method. So the count method will tell us how many times a given element occurs in our list. For instance, to see how many times this element 2 exists or occurs in our list, we can call the count method on our y object, on our list y. So we can simply say y.count, C-O-U-N-T, and then pass 2. So here we see that 2 exists once here, twice here. So the result will be 2. 2 occurs in our list twice. So the count method gives us 2. How about 4? 4 only occurs once. So if we use the count method to get how many times 4 appears in our list, we get 1. What if the element doesn't exist in our list? For instance, y.count 36. So this will give us 0, since 36 doesn't appear in our list. So that's the count method. Next, let's look at the index method. So the index method will tell us the index of the specified element in our list. For instance, let's try to find out the index of this element 10. So we know that 10 is at index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So y that index of the element 10, we get 7. So that's how we can use the index method. We call the index method on our list y or whatever list, and then we pass the element that we want to find. So let's say 3, pass 3, and it will give us the index of that element.